And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza. And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Pacific Time on Spreaker Radio, Blog Talk Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide. I also broadcast on Roar 1776 Radio and on Live 365 Radio every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day simply by clicking on that little icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you want to comment or just engage me in conversation about anything. You can do that by calling directly into the studio at 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. Now, in today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Now, today, my expert contributor is John Hanson, that little old wine drinker. He's going to be talking about food and wine. My special guest, John Kurth, the Wizard of Words, will be talking about success in business through scripting. But you know what? Right now, I want you to know that at 4:02 p.m. Pacific Time, it is currently 86 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, stand by for news, because that's what we got going on right now. So let's get right to it. And let's see here. There we go. And first up, Obama called the GOP criticism of Iran deal ridiculous and sad. President Barack Obama unleashed a blistering and belting rebuke of Republican White House hopefuls Monday, or I should say today, calling their attack on his landmark nuclear deal with Iran ridiculous if it weren't so sad. Standing before television cameras during a trip to Africa, Obama suggested the bellicose rhetoric from some GOP candidates was an attempt to divert attention from Donald Trump, the wealthy businessman turned presidential contender whose popularity is confounding the Republican field. Maybe it gets attention, and maybe this is just an effort to put Mr. Trump out of the headlines. But it is not the kind of leadership that is needed for America right now, Obama said during his news conference in Ethiopia. Obama's comments marked his first direct engagement of the race to succeed him. Until now, he's largely limited his commentary to publicly differences or policy differences with Republicans, often sidestepping the names of specific candidates. But the president's unsparing criticism today, targeting candidates Mike Huckabee and Ted Cruz, as well as Trump, underscored his sensitivity to efforts to scuttle the Iran Accord, which he hopes will be his signature foreign policy initiative. It also raised the prospect of an aggressive role for Obama in the 2016 presidential campaign. In 18 months, I'm turning over the keys, Obama said. I want to make sure I'm turning over the keys to somebody who is serious about the serious problems that the country faces and the world faces as well. The president was asked specifically about Huckabee's assertion that Obama had agreed to a nuclear deal that would take the Israelis and basically march them to the door of the oven. A reference to crematoria in Nazi concentration camps during the Holocaust, the Israeli government staunchly opposes the agreement and views an Iranian nuclear program as a threat to its existence. Now, Obama said the comments from Huckabee, a former Arkansas governor, were part of a broader pattern from Republicans. He also singled out Cruz, the Texas senator, for saying the nuclear deal makes Obama, not Iran, the leading state sponsor of terrorism. You know what? This is getting to be ridiculous. I mean, ridiculous. You know, here's the thing. I understand that we have conservatives and Republicans that castigate Obama for everything, including the smoggy days that we may be having here. But the truth is the truth. And for someone to bombast the president and to accuse him of making a deal that is tantamount to the Holocaust is absolutely unconscionable. And the person who did that, and we know who it was, Huckabee, And the people that condone it should be just castigated right off the Republican platform, period. That's my position. And I don't care what you say or what you think. Now, up 31 minutes ago, the NSA will stop looking at old U.S. phone records. That's the deal. You know, the Obama administration has decided that the National Security Agency will stop examining and will ultimately destroy millions of American calling cards or records it collected under the controversial program leaked by former agency contractor Edward Snowden. I'm getting tongue-tied, don't know why. When Congress passed a law in June ending the NSA's bulk collection of American calling records after a 6-month transition, officials said they weren't sure whether they would continue to make use of the records that had already been collected, which generally go back 5 years. Typically, intelligence agencies are extremely reluctant to part with data that they consider lawfully obtained. The program began shortly after the September 2001 terrorist attacks, but most of the records are purged every 5 years. You know what? Doesn't make any difference whether these guys are reluctant to do it or not. If their boss, the President of the United States, says do it, then you do it. You know, gravity flows down, not up. How about this? In 1 hour ago, in New Jersey, Christie taps ex-classmates for plum posts. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie has remained especially close to his high school friends. He launched his campaign for president in his old high school gymnasium, checks in by phone and attends reunions, but he's also made a habit of selecting old classmates for plum state positions, judgeships among them. An Associated Press review of his senior class yearbook, state payroll records, agency websites, and state press releases found that nearly a half dozen of Christie's former high school classmates have ended up in state positions since he took office. The number increases at least to a dozen if Christie's classmates from Seton Hall Law School are counted. The hires include a name that haunts Christie. David Wildstein is a former ally and top staffer at the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. He pleaded guilty to orchestrating the traffic jam scandal that has tarnished the governor's reputation. Christie has said the two barely knew each other at Livingston, although Wildstein was the statistician on the school's baseball team. Christie played catcher, and the two volunteered together on Tom Keene's campaign for governor. You know what? While on the surface that seems like a pretty stupid and pretty bad thing, who would he pick? Would he pick strangers, people he doesn't know? Of course he'd pick people he knew, people he trusted, regardless of what their job was going to be. They'd have an edge. They'd have it with me. They'd have it with you. The best person gets the job. Sometimes what tilts the scale is who you have the most trust in and who you know the best. Just makes sense. Well, 38 minutes ago, judge says she did not involuntarily commit a theater gunman. The gunman responsible for last week's deadly attack on a Louisiana movie theater was delivered by deputies to hospital for a medical evaluation in 2008 after his family said that he was a danger to himself and others. But the judge who ordered him detained said today that she did not have him involuntarily committed, which may explain why he was able to legally purchase the gun that he used to kill 2 people and wound 9 others before killing himself. His case underscores the concerns raised in the aftermath of other mass shootings involving suspects with mental health issues and the gaps in the system meant to red flag people ill-suited to own or carry a firearm. While an Alabama sheriff said that he denied Hauser's application for a concealed weapons permit in 2006, there appears to have been nothing in court filings that would raise concerns in the FBI background check system. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to talk more about what's in the news. We're going to say, in this case, experts are saying time is an enemy in solving Bobby Christina's death. Well, we'll talk all about it after these brief messages. Don't go away. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer
what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what? It's time for news, more news anyway. And as I said before, time is an enemy in solving Bobby Christina's death. Medical examiners performing an autopsy on Bobby Christina Brown said today their initial findings turned up no obvious cause of death, while experts said the months that have passed since Brown was found face down in a bathtub are working against authorities now tasked with solving how she died. The Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office said in a statement today, this afternoon actually, that it was likely to be several weeks before it can rule on a manner and cause of death for the 22-year-old daughter of Whitney Houston. The agency said its initial autopsy turned up no significant injuries or previously unknown medical conditions. It said that the next step is ordering lab tests and issuing subpoenas for documents, most likely Brown's hospital records. Experts said time is definitely an enemy in Brown's case. Any drugs she might have taken passed from her bloodstream long ago. Physical injuries would have been healing even as Brown remained largely unresponsive. If police overlooked any physical evidence at Brown's home after she was hospitalized January 31st, recovering it nearly 6 months later may be impossible. Dr. Michael Baden, former medical examiner for New York City, has performed more than 20,000 autopsies during a career spanning more than 45 years. He said the first obstacle for forensic pathologists in Brown's case will be a living body's ability to mend itself and erase medical evidence. So, you know what? Time will tell, or maybe it won't. Who knows, right? Well, how about this? This is an Associated Press exclusive. The Associated Press tracks slave boats in Papua New Guinea. From space, the fishing boats were just little white specks floating in a vast stretch of blue water off Papua New Guinea. But zoom in, and there's the critical evidence. 2 travelers loading slave-caught seafood onto a massive refrigerated cargo ship. The trawlers fled a slave island in Indonesia with captives of a brutal Southeast Asian trafficking ring whose catch reaches the United States. Hundreds of men were freed after they were discovered there earlier this year, but 34 boats loaded with workers left for new fishing grounds before help actually arrived. They remained missing. After a 4-month investigation, the Associated Press has found that at least some of them ended up in a narrow, dangerous strait nearly 1,000 miles away. The proof comes from accounts from recently returned slaves, satellite beacon trafficking, government records, interviews with business insiders, and fishing licenses. The location is also confirmed in images from space taken by one of the world's highest resolution satellite cameras upon the Associated Press's request. The skippers have changed their ships' names and flags to evade authorities, but hiding is easy in the world's broad oceans. Traffickers operate with impunity across boundaries as fluid as waters. Laws are few and hardly enforced, and depleted fish stocks have pushed boats farther out into seas that are seldom even glimpsed, let alone governed. The lack of regulation means that even with the men located, bringing them to safety may prove elusive. Some things, unfortunately, you just can't do anything about. Well, in 1 hour ago, with Boston out, can Los Angeles receive the United States Olympic bid is what I meant to say. Boston's bid to host the 2024 Olympics was undercut by its own mayor, its skeptical public, and finally leaders of the U.S. Olympic Committee who were tired of the city's ever-changing blueprint. Next, it may be time to see if there's more Olympic love in Los Angeles. After the USOC and Boston cut ties today, CEO Scott Blackman said the Federation still wants to try to host the 2024 Games. The USOC has until September the 15th to officially name its candidate. Several Olympic leaders have quietly been pushing for Los Angeles, the city that invented the modern-day template for the Olympics when it played host in 1984 as the best possible substitute. Approval ratings that couldn't sneak out of the 40s were the first sign of trouble for Boston, and it became clear that that bid was doomed in the 72-hour period before the USOC board met with bid leaders today, and they jointly decided to pull the plug. So sorry, Boston. Happy for you, though, Los Angeles. Let me tell you, it's just, gotta be. Well, United States and Turkey plan for safe zone-free IS in northern Syria. Did I hear that right? Turkey and the United States have agreed on the outlines of a plan to route the Islamic State group from a strip of Syrian territory along the Turkish border, a plan that opens the possibility of a safe haven for tens of thousands of displaced Syrians, but one that also sets up a potential conflict with U.S.-backed Syrian Kurdish forces in the area. The move further embroils Turkey, a key NATO ally in Syria's civil war, and also catapults it into a frontline position in the global war against the IS. A senior Obama administration official said today that U.S. discussions with Turkey about an IS-free zone focused on a 68-mile stretch still under IS control. The U.S. has been conducting airstrikes there, which will accelerate now that the U.S. can launch strikes from Turkish soil, the official said. No agreement between Turkey and the U.S. has yet been finalized, said the official who spoke on condition of anonymity under regulations. Well, we'll see what happens. Good that we're going to be able to use Turkish ground. Bad if it's going to give the IS any kind of leverage. How about this? Mental health experts respond carefully to mass killings. One psychiatry professor calls it a conversation that we're stuck with, a teachable moment growing out of horror. Each time mental illness is cited as a possible factor in a high-profile mass killing, there's a collective sigh among mental health professionals, even as they see an opportunity for serious discussions of problems and remedies. They also worry about setbacks to their efforts to destigmatize mental illness. Most people who suffer from mental illness are not violent, and most violent acts are committed by people who are not mentally ill, said Dr. Renee Bender, president of the American Psychiatric Association. Now, Do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to talk about the IRS loses. And our first case is a missed audit deadline. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, General Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh, yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. It sends the hair up on the back of my neck, sends chills up and down my spine. I just love this part of the show. The first case up is missed audit deadline. Let me tell you about it. A company declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy but continued operating. It then filed a later year return making a Section 505B request under the Bankruptcy Code. Now, this requires the IRS to select the return for audit within 60 days or accept it as accurate. Instead, after the 60 days had passed, the IRS said that $7 million more was due on it. The IRS position was the 505B request was invalid because published IRS rules required it to be sent to the IRS district director not to be filed with the return. So they went to court. This is what the judge said. The IRS's argument was absurd, as it had earlier abolished the position of district director. Thus, filing the request with the return was the correct action, and the tax is lifted. You remember how much tax I said that was? Yeah, $7 million. Well, I'd look to have been on the saving end of that one. How about this one? Here's a case that the IRS conceded. Now, you've heard me say it many, many times. The IRS only concedes a case when they're pretty doggone sure they can't win the case. Let me tell you about this one. Bank deposits need not be reported as cash payments. Here's the case. Businesses are required to report all cash payments larger than $10,000 to the IRS on Form 8300. That's Report of Cash Payments over $10,000 received in a trade or business. And that's really because, it's mostly because of drug money. In a recent case, though, a car dealer sold cars using independent contractor salespeople. After a sale was made, the salesperson would deposit the sales proceeds in the dealer's bank account. So here's what the IRS's final opinion actually was. The receipt of a bank deposit is not a receipt of cash. Since the dealer never literally received cash in his hand, the reporting requirement didn't apply. Now think about it. That just makes sense, right? Can you imagine the IRS actually trying to fight that? I just can't. I can't see that. How about here's one for the IRS losing. They cannot sue to collect tax that's already subject to a refund suit. Get this one. A company failed to remit payroll taxes, and the IRS imposed personal liability for these taxes on its owners. They paid a portion of the tax, then properly sued for a refund, contesting their liability, filing their suit in Kentucky, where they actually lived. The IRS then filed a separate suit in Louisiana, where the company operated, to enforce collection of the assessed tax. Now, the owners protested. They went to tax court for some satisfaction. This is what the judge said. When a tax liability is being contested in a refund suit in one court, the IRS cannot file a collection action for the same tax in another court. The Louisiana suit is dismissed. I mean, isn't that what you'd expect? For Pete's sake, God help the IRS. Oh, don't ever help the IRS. What am I saying? Shame on me. You've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing things. That's where we're at right now when we talk about inside the IRS. Now, these are not court cases, but these are precedents that have been set that you can use to defend yourself or maybe make a decision not to hurt yourself. That's where we're at right now when we talk about inside the IRS. So just keep that in mind as we're doing this. Now, right up first, filing your tax return while under an audit. You know, it's generally not advisable to file an income tax return while you're in the middle of an audit. The reason is simple. The revenue agent can decide to extend the scope of the audit to include the most recent year filed and raise the issue of additional adjustments. So what do? You file an extension and hope that the examination is completed before the extended due date of the return. If you run out of time, make sure that the return that you file is absolutely correct and doesn't contain any aggressive deductions. A plain vanilla tax return is unlikely to be examined, and if you want to take aggressive position, you can always consider filing an amended return after the examination's been closed. You've got 3 years to file that amended return. Makes a whole lot more sense to me, doesn't it to you? And let me give you one more. Taxing you on income not paid until after your death. The IRS is able to rely on a provision in the law known as in respect of a decedent. That's IRD. Now, this permits the IRS to levy income tax separate and apart from estate tax on money your estate or beneficiary receives after you die. Now, commissions and bonuses that a decedent had earned at the time of his or her death, but that were not paid until after death, are common examples of this IRD. Now, such payments would be taxable to the estate or to the legatee of the estate to whom they are paid. That's the issue. Now, the tax break, though, federal estate tax paid that is attributable to IRD can be taken as an itemized deduction on your income tax by the beneficiary. So it's gonna be ameliorated. It's gonna be taken care of. So you don't have to worry too much about it. You just need to know that it's there, and that's why I always caution you to use a licensed tax professional or a tax attorney. They're going to get you the best you can, because if you don't know that deduction's there, Guess what? Yeah, you pay the tax, and guess what? The IRS knows it, and they're just going to smile at you, guaranteed. Now, do not go away. When we come back, we're going to be with our own wizard of words, Mr. John Kurth, when he talks about the syntax of success. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:33 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 86 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, stand by because we're going to make your business successful with our Wizard of Words, Mr. John Kurth. Let's get him in here.
And now, it's time for our Wizard of Words, John Kurth, president and founder of Syntactic Sales Scripting. He helps business owners, sales managers, and individual salespeople create winning sales scripts that win more customers. John has more than 12 years of combined international sales experience in Hong Kong, Taiwan, and the United States. Here now is our own John Kurth, the Wizard of Words, helping you obtain scripting success beyond your greatest expectations.
To success in business through preparation and scripting, right?
Yes, thanks so much, Robert. So one of the things I want to talk about today is the perception of your product or service's value. This is the perceived value. Why? Because really perception is reality. It's not what you think of it, what your marketing department thinks of your product or service. It's ultimately what the customer thinks of it. So if you really want to make sure that you are going to have the highest perceived value from your customers, whether you're selling in the business-to-consumer space or business-to-business space. There's 4 distinct values you need to focus on to enhance your perceived value. First is, well, I'll name them and then we'll go into them more deeply. There's the psychological value, political value, operational value, and strategic value. Now, an important theme here is the value. We talk about how sometimes salespeople focus on the features, not on the benefits. Well, focusing on the benefits or focusing on the value. So let's talk about the psychological value. The psychological value is really the most important component to them making a buying decision and going forward with you, because we have to reach them on a good psychological level. So the psychological value is based on these 4 key needs. There's satisfying the ego, being accepted as part of the group, avoiding pain, and getting into pleasure. Pretty much every sales benefit can fit into one of those 4 areas, but we really have to ratchet it up on the psychological value. This is a common mistake that many beginning salespeople make. They're just focusing on the logical benefits. They're only focusing on one area, potentially like the operational value, but they're ignoring the others. So psychological value, if you only have time to focus on one area, make sure you focus on the psychological value, but you want to hit all 4 of them. The other value that determines the perceived value of your product or service is its political value. Now, that can be powered in an organization if it's a business-to-business type of selling, or even to a small business owner, the power within his business or her business. But then there's also the power in the community. Oftentimes you see people in the technology space. They buy the latest and greatest, the newest technological gadget. Why? That increases their political value, their prestige amongst their peer group. So political value still makes an impact, even if it's outside of a typical organization, definitely at the individual consumer level. Then there's the operational value. How does it make the business more effective? How does that make that person's department much more successful? However, operational value still applies to the individual, making their lives more successful, more efficient, saving time, saving money. That's operational value. And then finally, there's the strategic value. Now, strategic value within a group, or rather within a business, is gaining competitive advantage, increasing revenues, decreasing costs, increasing productivity, along those lines. However, strategic value, if it's an individual sale, is what allows them to justify their purchase to their friends, to their family. We've all heard sales are made on emotion and then justified by logic. Well, the strategic value, you need to look at that as how can the potential customer justify their purchase, defend it really, to someone outside of themselves, a family member or a friend. So once you know these 4 different types of value, then you can go through your presentation and list all the benefits your product or service serves, and then ask yourself, does it address psychological value? Does it address political value or operational or strategic? Now that you have those of all your benefits, then you can bring them up when you need them and also make sure they're in the presentation. But also when you're dealing with this, the perception is reality. It's challenging enough sometimes they're dealing with a one-person sale. But think about with a husband and wife. You now have a 2-person sale. But you also need the perceived value still applies to both individuals, the husband and the wife. So if you're doing a lot of sales calls to husbands and wives, again, look through how will this information, how these benefits help the perceived value from the wife and the perceived value for the husband. So I really want to get a little deeper into that because it's so important, because so many times many salespeople just focus on one of them, maybe the operational value. This is the typical features and benefits. But you got to focus on the others. So that's the perception is reality. That's the different types of values. Another thing here's another thing. If you're selling to a group, again, it's a political decision, you're selling to a committee. This is the business-to-business selling. Well, the nice thing about that is you can research who's going to be there off of LinkedIn. And thus, you can then craft from if you were in their shoes. So you're the operational manager. What would be their psychological value, political value, operational value, and strategic value? The CEO, what are her psychological values, political, operational, strategic? So you can map that out even before you go into a sales presentation like that. And then when you get a question from a particular person, you can then craft your responses that's going to hit those 4 values, more customized for how that person thinks, feels, and their rank and position in the organization. Any questions on that, Robert?
Nope, you got it plain. But if you could go back to the link, figuring it out who's going to participate via LinkedIn, I'd appreciate that because I lost you there.
Okay. Well, on LinkedIn, sometimes you will know in advance who is going to be in the meeting. You set an appointment. You ask the person, in addition to you, who else is going to be in the meeting? You get their names, and then you go on to LinkedIn to find more about them, those additional people who are going to be at the meeting. And then you can cross-reference it by title. Once you've got their name and their title, then that's going to allow you to further customize the different values based on their position, because a CEO is going to look at your proposal very differently than maybe the operational manager or the HR manager.
Gotcha.
So that's how you use it. The thing is, it's the great thing about the technology nowadays. With the Internet, there's so much information out there. You can really prep much more rapidly for your presentations than you could do in the past. It's just so much more efficient that way.
Well, you know what? No question. I would think, and I unfortunately I don't know because other than the radio business, when I was with Revlon, we didn't have any of these technologies. Even faxes were new to us at Revlon. Before. And so now I would think it would be so much easier to open the door and close the sale with all of the information technology that's available to the people that are out there trying to make that sale.
It is, on one hand, it is easier because the content is richer and it's easier to put the sale into the appropriate context within that particular business. However, the challenge is the information overload. You have to know when you're going to stop because, again, this is coming down to time management. So, preparing for the sale, of course, what information, what research do you need to do ahead of time to give yourself the best position to do that? But many people fall into the trap, if I just keep looking, I'll get that last piece of information that's going to make it perfect and everything. Well, you got to set yourself a timer. How much of your time is going to be spent gathering the information through LinkedIn and other sites? But then you need to make sure you budget enough time to process and analyze the information, see how it pertains to your particular selling situation, and then how you're going to apply that knowledge into your sales call. So you just got to budget your time because it's so easy, as you well know, Robert, to just get lost on the Internet with all the information and your time slips away.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes, people might fall into the trap of getting meaningless information that really, what's the word I want to use, subterfuges their objective rather than support it.
Yes, that's an excellent point. So one of the things to help you with that process is when you're gathering the information, just because it's on the Internet doesn't mean it's credible. So some sites are more credible than others. So LinkedIn, is generally more credible. But when you're gathering that information, you also need to cite the source. Where did it come from? If it came from LinkedIn or the New York Times, it's a much more credible source, so you can trust the validity of the information. If it's this person you've never even heard of, if it's a blog that you never even heard of, maybe the person has an axe to grind and the information can be distorted. So that's another thing, that's another hazard now with the sales preparation. But one way to get around it is just how valid is the source? Just rank it at A, B, or C. A, it's very valid, trustworthy, like a LinkedIn web page. B, it's pretty good. C, I don't know about that. So that's another way to make sure you aren't falling afoul of some potentially inaccurate information or for the source that isn't so credible.
And let me ask you this. Wouldn't you sometimes use these social networks to find out a little bit about a person's background, what their interests are, their hobbies are, things like that, so that you can create a social relationship with them before you actually sit down and have this meeting so that you have something in common?
Yes, you can use it as an additional step in preparation for the meeting. So that way you're building that rapport even before you meet with that particular individual. That's a very valid strategy to do it. Even if you don't have a chance to set up that relationship prior to the initial sales call, you now have that information in common so you can more rapidly develop the trust and rapport when you're with them. So if you'd like to learn a little more about these strategies, you can call me here for a complimentary consultation. It's 949-391-3876. That's 949-391-3876. I'm John with Syntactic Sales Scripting. Robert?
And we'll be right back with John Kurth, the Wizard of Words, right after these brief messages. Don't go away, because if you do, it's your loss.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Wizard of Words, Mr. John Kurth. John, you've got the microphone.
Thanks, Robert. So another area to focus on to make your sales presentations or any of your communications more powerful, more persuasive, is comprehension and your communication level. They're totally intertwined. See, comprehension is essential to, of course, for you to succeed, and how well you communicate is important, but there's ways to determine your communication level with your potential clients. Now, one of the important distinctions you want to remember is the meaning of communication is the response you get. So we've all had experiences we thought we were communicating clearly and the other person didn't really understand. So again, it's your responsibility to make sure your communication is effective, your sales communication or any other type of communication. But let's talk about the types of messages that come through with the communication. And these different types of messages determine there's a different level of comprehension for each. The three different types is, one is a recreational message. The second type is an instructional message, and the third is really a message of frustration. So let me go into each in turn. So a recreational message, think of it as just a communication between friends. It could be over the telephone, it could be over the internet, it even could be listening to music or reading a novel. A recreational message is, again, there's a lot more fun and enjoyment. There's a lot more personal context. There's a lot more rapport with the other individual. So with that, with a recreational type of message, then you have the highest level of comprehension of words being recognized, and that's usually about 80 to 90% plus. It's very, very high of all the three types. Instructional messages are based off of teaching, telling, passing along knowledge, or selling. So this is a very different type of message. Again, these types of instructional messages are sent during like a product briefing, a trade show, or a workshop, sales calls, training sessions. This is instructional information. It's an instructional type of message. Then the third type is a message of frustration or a frustrational message. Now, we mentioned earlier, the recreational message has the highest level of comprehension. Instructional message is second highest. Messages of frustrations have very low comprehension. Like a message of frustration, and this often occurs in communications because of jargon creeping into the presentation. The person is using information that you're not familiar with. I was working with one of my clients in the law office, and they're dealing with workers' comp, and they brought on the people, and they wanted some help with their scripts, but they were throwing around so many different legal terms that were unique to their industry. I had to stop them and say, look, I don't understand that language. Can you share with me what they meant? I was getting frustrated. It's okay, but at least I had the courage to ask about that. When you're dealing with other people with your presentations, they're rarely going to raise their hand and say, look, I really didn't understand what you meant by that. Could you explain it a different way? That's when they get frustrated, and frustrated people don't buy usually. But another challenge is mixing the message. Some salespeople, the beginning salespeople, are so afraid sometimes because they're just new to an industry or they're brand new to selling. They're very afraid of the process, so they craft their message recreationally. It's almost like you're meeting a friend that you haven't seen in a while, but no selling is going on. They've crafted their message like a recreational message instead of an instructional message, because a sales call is all about education. So that's one thing to be aware of. So you need to make sure the messages match, because once you have that level of comprehension, then they're going to understand and take what are the next steps they need to take. Now, here's another thing to keep in mind, and another tool that's very, very effective. It's called the Flesch-Kincaid reading level. And this was designed for the U.S. Navy because they wanted a way to determine what was the reading level of all their manuals they used to train the servicemen and women. And what they did, and you can get access to this through your Microsoft Word program, you can put in your script or your entire presentation. It's best to use a longer presentation, and it will analyze it according to its grade level and the reading level. So for most communications, most selling communications, it all depends on the education of your market, the educational level, but 8th or 9th grade is pretty optimal, because if you have a wide range of potential clients you're seeing of many different backgrounds, about a 9th grade reading level is important and is just about right. But perhaps you're targeting more educated clients. You can run your sales presentation through it, and then maybe it's 11th grade or 12th grade level. That's another way to make sure there isn't a mismatch between how you've scripted your presentation and the comprehension level or the educational level of the person you're talking to. So it's a very, very sophisticated technique, and it's interesting. The U.S. Navy, all of their manuals, whether they're training for at any level or even how to run the nuclear reactors on the nuclear submarines, is still written at a 9th grade level to increase the level of comprehension. So it's an additional tool you can use to make sure your communication is going to be powerful and precise, and they're going to be able to comprehend your message. Any questions on that, Robert?
No, that makes all the sense in the world. Matter of fact, something that I was told long ago was that, you know what, when you're speaking to someone, you need to bring the vocabulary down to their level without embarrassing them in any way, not letting them know in any way. That what you're trying to do is to use a vocabulary in terms that they will readily recognize and be able to utilize.
Absolutely, and that's another way of increasing the rapport, is the word choice that you're using. So you can take a look, if you're dealing with a particular industry, while avoiding the jargon, you can bring out those terms that they're familiar with that are more common usage, and that will further increase your rapport with them and the comprehension with them. Because, again, the meaning of your communication is a response you get, and that's a wonderful thing about selling and scripting. If you don't get the result, that's just feedback. It's really just, how can I change the script? How can I change that? And once you focus on the language, that's a process-based approach. It's not outcome-based or event-based. Sometimes salespeople come in. This is newer salespeople before I've had a chance to train them, people new to selling, and you made the sale great. What happened? They don't know what happened because they haven't looked at the process. So when you break down your sales presentation into your various steps, your various processes, then you can optimize each one. And then if you didn't make the sale, where did it break down? Well, maybe I didn't develop enough trust and rapport at the beginning. Great. Well, now you know that, and you can change that for your next presentation. Or they didn't seem to see the need. Well, that might indicate you didn't ask the right types of questions or enough questions.
You know, John, one of the things that I always did, right, wrong, or indifferent, when I didn't get the result, the successful result that I was looking for, I had enough brashness to look my colleague right in the eye and say, all right, this is not going the way that I would hope it would go. What am I saying that is not appealing to you? What am I saying that is killing this deal? I just come right out and ask them.
It's fine because it's very, very refreshing. You have nothing to lose at this point.
No.
So, sure, well, was there something what was it that was not, or you can language it like this. I'm a little surprised you weren't able to move forward. What did I not cover? Or what were some things that were missing? Or where did you not see the value? Oh, I really saw the value in this area, but I didn't see the value here. Well, tell me more about that. So that's another very, very important technique because you have nothing more to lose. Why not ask them?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it's something, they trigger something you just forgot to mention. And when they remind you and you tell them what the data is, you cinch the deal.
Yep, absolutely. And that's another reason why when you go through you've scripted out your presentation, you've got a checklist to make sure you've covered those key points because then it's part of your process and you won't forget. But if you do, yeah, why not? Ask them to find out. Because before I put this as part of my process, when I started out in sales, I made a big sale. I was out close to Disneyland. I'm driving home back to the office. I'm very, very excited. I'm halfway home, and I'm like, oh, my gosh, I forgot to ask them for referrals. Well, once I put that into my process, then from that point on, I always ask for referrals. So you're right. You can definitely ask them what they want, and they'll appreciate that because you're gaining additional feedback that you can use. Either it saves the sale that would have been lost anyway, or if it's dead in the water, you know what to do next time. And if you're speaking to somebody in a similar situation, you won't make that same mistake twice.
And not always, but generally what winds up happening is it kind of cements the rapport between the two of you because that individual now respects the fact that you realize something is not going right and you're asking him for help, and everybody on this planet wants to be a teacher.
Yep. You ask them for that help, and it's yeah, everyone does want to help, absolutely, and it's also a flattery script. When you're asking somebody for help, what does it do? The person feels more powerful. Hey, I might be able to help you out. Another thing with this, if you feel the sale isn't going so well, you also need to know what your secondary outcome is. Maybe your first outcome was to get the sale, but the secondary outcome, get some referrals. So that's another thing that will help you. So ask what you didn't cover, so that might be able to revive the sale like you just mentioned, Robert, and then go for your referrals. What's your secondary outcome? So once you have that, you're going to be so much more confident going in, and then that's going to help, of course, with making more sales, and you're just going to get better and better and better. It's kind of ironic. Well, anyway, we'll save that for another time. So, again, if you'd like to learn how to make your communication more powerful, more persuasive, to make sure you're winning sale after sale, just give me a call here for a complimentary consultation. My telephone number here, 949-391-3876. That's 949-391-3876. Robert?
And we've been talking to our own John Kurth, the Wizard of Words, and I'll tell you what, he's got lots of wisdom there. You should be paying attention to it, writing it down, practicing it, and you know what? Give him a call if you're a little confused. That's what this man does. He helps people. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, we'll be talking to our own John Hanson, that little old wine drinker, and he's going to be talking about food and wine. John, great segment. Thank you.
All right.
Take care.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:08 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 85 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, my good buddy's waiting in the wings. I know he's got lots to tell us, so let's get him in here.
When they ask who's a fool in the corner crying, I say, a little old wine drink of me.
And now, from the middle of a vineyard somewhere, a man who's never met a grape he couldn't cuddle up to, our resident advanced sommelier, John Hanson.
Hey, John, everybody knows you're here. We got you're calling in, and we got the whole audience over here. All these young girls, beautiful girls, in these short skirts and tight sweaters, and they're saying, "Where's John? Where's John? Where's John?" I said, "Well, he's on the phone."
Well, yeah. Well, Bob, if I knew you were going to have young, beautiful women over there, I would have come to your house. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. And hey, listen, I'm all excited because you and I are having lunch tomorrow.
Yes, we are. It's been a while. We're going to see our good friends Bruno and Franco. It's been a while. I mean, we were in a routine there. I think we were going almost once a week or at least 2 or 3 times a month. And, gosh, we haven't seen those guys in a while. So we got a lot of catching up to do, I guess.
You know, maybe they'll feel bad and think they did something wrong and buy our lunch tomorrow. I don't think so, John.
I don't think so either, but hey, we're still thinking, though. I mean, it could happen. Who knows?
So what's on the agenda for today?
Well, a few things. Of course, it's summertime, so we're going to talk about some great wines and barbecues and so forth. But I tell you, I'm really excited. I had a little meeting with my good friend Steve at Southern Wine and Spirits, and he wants to bring some great people on the air on the show. And in October, we're going to have the ambassador of Chateau Mouton, First Growth Bordeaux. In October is going to be one of our
Wait a
guests
minute, John.
there.
Wait a minute. What, are these guys bringing samples with them?
Oh, I bet they will. I bet they will. So it's going to be a fun day, Bob. We may have to stay somewhere, or if we're going mobile and going down.
Absolutely.
but also in October, Terra Roja, the release party as well. You got all the information from Linda, right?
Yeah, I sure did. Maureen and I are planning on going with you and Raina.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's she likes to alternate. 1 year she'll be up in Vegas, and then she has it at her own place in Napa Valley. So this year it's up in Napa Valley. So we may have to go a few days up there if we're going to go to Napa Valley.
Oh, that sounds like a deal to me, John.
Oh yeah.
We can do a lot of remotes from up there.
Oh yeah, we can probably cover a couple weeks up there. So plan on spending a couple of days. Next week we have hopefully Robert Baker with Benares Wine. He's the director of sales and marketing. Hopefully be on our show next week. And as I said, we got a lot of special guests coming up in the weeks to come. And Steve's very excited. I'm very excited. But I tell you, I'm very excited for tomorrow. So we can probably, I guess, next week's show we're going to have to talk about the White House for our lunch.
Yeah.
But I'm going to bring you something special too, Bob, tomorrow.
Oh, my
I can
goodness.
tell you what it is, but I'm going to bring you something special.
How could you bring anything more special than what you did for my anniversary?
Well, we'll I don't know if I can come that elaborate of a gift. But, I'm sure you're going to enjoy
you never fail to bring something special. So, everything that's in that little carry bag of yours is something that I anxiously anticipate.
Oh, yeah. It's always hidden, but you'll be happy. I'll guarantee that.
I'm sure I will. So listen, I think you and I need to meet there a little early so we can kind of grease the gears a little bit with a cocktail before we get started. Maybe we'll show up there about 11 o'clock.
Sounds good.
All right.
Good. And they're always grateful to see us, and they always accommodate us at that early hour. So
you know what, they really do. These people, they treat you like family, and you know what? And what I've noticed, John, and I'd love to be able to say that Bruno and Franco and all these guys are treating us special because they like us and we go there fairly often. But I think they treat all of their clientele as family. They just love it when people come in there and they support Bruno and what he's doing for these homeless kids, these motel kids. And his program is now expanding all over the United States and all over the world. They're picking it up. And I think it's just a wonderful thing that he was doing. And I'm sure that he'll continue doing it in memory of his mom.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we'll definitely see you there tomorrow with a little something special. But
yeah.
we'll get on with the show today. Bob, last week, we talked about the summer, and we had our mixologists on. We talked about cocktails and, Mai Tai, summer kisses, and all these great summer cocktails. But this week, we're going to talk more about summer wines. And we ended the show, we finally got that wine pick of the weekend. And last week's wine pick of the week, of course, was a rosé. And I tell you, my favorite summer wine is rosés. And, try a nice rosé. My favorite area is like Provence and so forth, where, they're not expensive, about $12 a bottle, $15 a bottle, and just some incredible rosés. But we do have some great rosés out of California. And I tell you, I'm going to give you, let's do the top three. If money isn't an issue, the top three rosés out of California here. And number one, of course, my favorite rosé is the Uri. That's Y-U-I. And that's Kenzo up there in Napa Valley. They're a little hard to get to. They're way up in the mountain. You got to get past Jarvis and so forth. But the whites and the rosé, Heidi Barrett is the winemaker, and of course she's a legend up there. She was with Bryant. She has, of course, La Serena is her own winery, but my gosh, she's a legend up there. And if you don't mind spending $60 a bottle for a rosé, it's going to be the most incredible rosé you ever had. I mean, you got grapefruit, a little passion fruit, strawberries, light cherries on this, just beautiful red fruit as well coming off there. It's just an amazing, one of the most incredible rosés I've ever had. But also, Cinquenan. If you're into cult wine, Cinquenan, of course, is one of the most popular cult wines. They do a rosé, and it has become so popular that I've been seeing it on WineBid for like $150 a bottle and so forth. But you can usually pick it up for around $50 a bottle, especially if you're on the actual wine list there. Your allocation is probably only have 1 or 2 bottles, but it's about $50 a bottle at the winery. Great little rosé as well. And Turley, actually, they have a dry white zin. That is delicious for about $25 a bottle. So if price isn't an issue, 3 incredible rosés out of California. But if price is an issue, just stick with the Southern French rosés. They're so delicious, and it's summertime wine. And if you're out at the barbecue, my gosh, a nice little tomato salad, light meats, rosés go great with light meats and so forth. But you can just sit back at the pool and drink a rosé all afternoon and just enjoy. But we're going to talk about other wines for the summer. And, I really talk about rosés, but I tell you, Oregon has some incredible whites with just bright acid.
Well, I'm glad you moved to whites because I've got a shock for you. Last night I gave Marlene her choice, what she would like to have for dinner, and she said that she would like to have a filet Oscar. And I said, well, yeah, I can do that. That's no problem. So I went out and got some really nice fillets and some really nice king crab legs, so that I could get some big chunks in there and some asparagus and put all that, cooked it perfectly, and then put a nice béarnaise sauce over the top of that and served it with a very small chef's salad. And we had a Sauvignon Blanc with it. Now, you know me, I would never have had a white wine with that, but you know the gal I was with, right? So, and you know what? I actually enjoyed it, John.
What Sauvignon Blanc did you have?
You know what? It was a, it wasn't Forniente. It was a, I forgot, John. I've gone blank.
Oh, I tell you, Sauvignon Blancs are great wines. They're so dimensional. I mean, you can have like something like more of a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc where you get that passion fruit, grapefruit, this intense fruit coming at you. And what's funny, because it's not warm down there in New Zealand, it's just that they have that long hang time where the fruit really develops. But Sauvignon Blanc could be very herbaceous as well. It has so many dimensions, Sauvignon Blanc, and it's such a great wine preparing because it's usually bright acid as well. And I tell you, I love Sauvignon Blanc. It's one of my top wines as well.
Well, I was surprised that I was actually enjoying it because I was, Marlene was saying she really liked that wine, and I said, well, if I had my choice, I'd be having a red wine right now. But you know what? We had that crab with it, and the béarnaise sauce with it, and the asparagus with it. It actually was pretty good.
Well, I tell you, what are you going to pair with asparagus? Artichokes. Artichokes are big summer wines. I tell you, and on the grill, I tell you, what I love is just grilling up some asparagus, some artichokes too. And what wine would you pair with that? I mean, Sauvignon Blanc is a perfect wine with that. There's actually one other wine that I would probably pick over that, and that, of course, is Gruner Veltliner. And Gruner Veltliner, of course, the main varietal from Austria. And you have that vegetal characteristic about it, but bright acid, just a delicious wine. But I tell you, with asparagus and artichoke, it's almost an impossible wine pairing, but Sauvignon Blancs and Gruner Veltliners, beautiful with those two combinations. But when we come back, Bob, we're going to talk about grilling and summer wines, and summer's here, so let's have some fun.
Sounds like fun to me. Don't go away. We'll be right back with John Hanson, that little old wine drinker, and he's going to be pairing foods and wines. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own John Hanson, a little wine drinker. John, you got the microphone, my buddy.
Thanks, Bob. We'll talk about summer wines, some great summer wines, and I mentioned at the last segment that Oregon. And I tell you, Oregon, of course, you have Pinots and Chards, but there's a lot of Alsatian whites that are just bright acid, incredible minerality. And I tell you, blind tasting Oregon wines, I keep wanting to go old world. I tell you, because the minerality is just incredible. But 2012, banner year, maybe the best year ever in Oregon. And go out and you get 2012 Oregon wines. I mean, we're talking like Pinot Gris, Rieslings, Auxerrois, that you never even see but in France. I mean, just some incredible wines, perfect summertime wines. Another area that I love and I always talk about is the Central Coast because you get these eclectic varietals going up there and just amazing varietals like Grenache Blanc, Gruner Veltliner, Pinot Grigio, or Pinot Gris actually, but they also do like Albarino, Pico de Penny, just eclectic, great little varietals, especially summertime wines, just beautiful, light, refreshing, bright acid, just delightful wines to drink. I tell you, summertime, of course, you're having fun by the pool and that, but grilling. I mean, everyone wants to have a little barbecue as the sun starts going down. You start putting the meats on the grill and so forth. And I tell you, what I love, and this is my new little glitch here, is grilled salads. Get a little bottle of oil, a little spray bottle, spray the lettuce, and just grill it. You get this incredible grilled flavor on the salad, just some incredible salads. I tell you, we talked about grilled asparagus, artichokes, and grilled Veltliners. I mean, what a perfect wine for those types. But yeah, Sauvignon Blancs, crisp, refreshing. They're so diverse. As I said, I kind of prefer more the New Zealand style with that passion fruit, that intense passion fruit and grapefruit coming at you. But also, hey, don't forget champagne. I like my white wines cold, but I love my champagnes ice cold or sparkling wines. And I tell you, great summertime, full-time wine right out there. But on the grill, and I'm going to quote Bob Foley. His favorite all-time varietal ever is a Charbonneau. Now, Italian varietal, of course, Bob Foley makes a Charbonneau, but Turley makes a Charbonneau, Summerlin makes a Charbonneau. What a great grill wine for like grilled ribs and so forth. It's just incredible. Zinfandel, Syrah, great barbecue, like barbecue ribs. And I tell you, right now, what's really popular, and you can find these actually in stores, is Santa Maria barbecue. Now, the actual Santa Maria barbecue, I think it's with red oak and then the seasoning and so forth. And you ever get a chance to go up to Santa Maria this time, there's all these barbecues going on, and it is the most flavorful, incredible meat. But Charbonneau, Syrah, Zins will be perfect with these meats, and just amazing. But if you want to do something simple, okay, there's other great grilled wines, Grenache from Spain. If you want to do a little more decadent, something like a Petite Syrah, Syrahs, and so forth. But if you're doing something simple, just like a grilled steak with some grilled mushrooms, Bob, I know one of your favorite wines, probably two of your favorite wines, Chateauneuf at the Pop and Bordeaux. I tell you, if you just want like grilled New York with just some grilled mushrooms, put it on the plate with some mashed potatoes. I love Bordeaux. I mean, because you got that old world, the terroir. You get the mushrooms, the cedar, the little perhaps a little. Gosh, what else you got on Bordeaux there?
Well, see, if I was there with you, you'd be having the New York, and I'd be having the bone-in ribeye.
I think you're right. But you get that cedar, you get chocolate, you get coffee, you get all these incredible aromas. And I tell you, Bob, Right Bank, Pomerol.
Oh, man. You know what? When you said Pomerol, it just took me right. It took me right to Bordeaux. Just, oh, man, how beautiful it is. And you and I actually have a friend who has a small winery in Pomerol and a bigger one in Bordeaux. Or in, yeah.
In a million.
Brown
sites thing they live on.
Yeah. And, but when you said Pomerol, my mind's eye just took me right to the vineyards in France. God, and the wine is phenomenal.
An incredible month over there. I actually got married over there, too. But I love Right Bank Bordeaux. And I tell you, Pomerol, Chateau Petrus, of course, we didn't get to see it, unfortunately, but Fabrice tried like hell. But Le Pen, Petrus Le Pen, two incredible wines.
Yeah, well, we did go to Cheval Blanc.
Oh, that's Saint-Emilion, yes. But, Saint-Emilion, of course, is my favorite area in Right Bank Bordeaux. And Cheval Blanc is my favorite. And for a long time, there's only two Class A Saint-Emilion, Cheval Blanc, and of course Chateau Asson. Cheval Blanc is just superior to everything that is out there. But they do have more Class A's. They elevated a couple back in 1996. Chateau Angélis, there's Chateau Beau Séjour Bocat. And two of my other favorites, I tell you, Chateau Figeac, which we went to, and Chateau Paviv, also we went to. But I tell you, Cheval Blanc just rolled out the red carpet for us when we were over there. And my gosh, we tasted several vintages there. And, oh, my God, it was just incredible. And the wine was just amazing. But of course, you can go to the left bank, and of course, there's some different areas.
All right, John. Hang on a second. Have you ever been to France and had a wine you didn't like? I mean, their jug wine. Their jug wine is good.
Even their low-end wines are amazing.
Yeah.
I tell you, it was fun just traveling around. We went to just a Bordeaux Superior place, which is low-end Bordeaux, and we tried, I forgot how many in that little shop there, and they were all just amazing.
Yeah.
Just amazing. But I tell you, I mean, left bank, there's so many different little areas. You got Graves. Of course, Chateau Haut-Brion is the first growth there. But I tell you, Chateau Mission, Haut-Brion, unbelievable. Sometimes it blows away, Chateau Haut-Brion. But, I mean, you got Chateau Oliver, you got Chateau Carbonneau, Smith Haute Lafitte. There's some great little finds over in Graves. Saint-Estèphe. There's two second growths there, Chateau Claude Senal and Chateau Montrose. Montrose is just amazing. And Chateau Colon-Ségur, which is a third growth. Just an unbelievable bottle of wine. Those three wines from Saint-Estèphe are just amazing. Of course, Poulac, you got Lafitte, Mouton, you got all the heavy hitters from there. But I tell you, if you're just sitting back and you're just doing something simple, you got to marinate it for half an hour in the sauce and everything. You just put a couple of New Yorks, put some mushrooms, grill up some mushrooms with just New York, sit down, relax, open up a nice Bordeaux, Bob, and you'll be in heaven.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And what a time we had over there in France. I mean, we're going to have to save that, of course, for another show.
There was this little place. I can't remember it. I'll describe it to you. Maybe you remember it. We were all over the place with Andre and everybody and Fabrice and everybody, and we were just kind of touring. And there was this river, and across the river was this outside kind of I don't know what you can't call it a cafe. It was a 2-by-nothing house with a kitchen in it, and outside they had all these tables, and we ordered our lunch. And I mean, holy cow, what a meal!
Yeah, and it's funny because Raina's nephew Noah drew a picture of it looked like a little castle across the water there.
Yeah,
he drew it on a napkin.
Yeah.
Well, oh yeah, I remember that vividly. That was just the food was just incredible. And it's funny, Bob, when we were in Venice, when we were in France, the food. I mean, we can just go anywhere. And when we were actually with you and Marlene, we were in Rome. Ray and I were in Rome together, just checking the thing. And I said the most memorable thing that we had was just this little cafe thing. That was just the food. My gosh! But remember in Venice? I mean, just the melon, prosciutto and melon was. Oh my God!
You know what? Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. It's not the same. When you're sitting in Venice having prosciutto and melon, a margarita pizza, and a spaghetti bolognese with a bottle of wine, you are in heaven, or destined for it anyway.
Oh my gosh! I mean, the only funny experience we had there was at we wanted to do a little Bellini. We got kicked out because we weren't Christian.
Yeah, they let the girls in, but they wouldn't let us in.
And I think we were a little more dressed than they were. They were just very casual. I mean, we at least had collar shirts on. We had shorts on, but collar shirts on. The girls had tank tops on, and they were fine. But they wouldn't let us in. And there was nobody in there, so I guess they weren't really looking for business. But you know what? We didn't miss anything. It was okay.
Yeah. We had a wonderful time. It's but you're right. You can't get even the sidewalk cafes. You can't get a bad meal. You can't get a bad glass of wine. The only thing that sometimes gets you a little bit is some of the French restaurants you go into. They serve you that glass of wine in a almost like just a cup.
Like a little plastic glass or something. They serve the wine in it. But I tell you, still, it's just amazing. And it's stuff from a local winery right there, and just incredible stuff.
Well, I think you were telling me in Rome you ate in a little restaurant. We ate in that same where it's just across from the Colosseum, not too far, just up and across. And there's this bank of sidewalk cafes that are there, and it's right across the street from the Roman Forum. And you walk in, and it's under this like a canvas tent type thing, and you start to order food, and it is just unbelievable.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that. Yeah, you told us to go there. That was incredible as well. I mean, it's just amazing. As I said, the most memorable dinner we had was the cheapest one, and it was fun because he asked me, "Would you want to drink?" And he didn't speak really too much English, and I don't speak Italian at all. And I asked him for Fiano di Avellino, and he goes, "Oh, okay." He just came out with a craft of something that was incredible. It wasn't Fiano di Avellino, but it was just incredible. And I tell you, Bob, I thought, all the food we ordered, the pizza was the size of the table. We had a salad that could feed 20. It was just incredible. And when I got the check, it was like €25. I'm like, what? It was by far the cheapest dining experience we had there, but probably the most memorable because it was just fun. And everything was incredible. It was simple but incredible. As I said, I had no idea what the wine was. It was Italian white, but it was just amazing. And to sit there and just relax and have fun. That's the first thing that when we reflect back on our wedding week there, it was just amazing. It was just amazing. But,
there's no wonder that Italians like to eat a late lunch, and it takes 3 or 4 hours, and then they don't even think about dinner till 10 o'clock at night.
Oh yeah. Well, the same thing in Spain. And the Italians, they like to eat for like 4 hours long, 4 or 5 hours long. Yeah. They start grazing, and it's the evening experience. It's a dining experience there. Yeah. And hey, I don't blame them either.
Yeah, you know what? That's it. They don't eat, John. They dine.
Exactly. But Bob, we're going to squeeze in the wine pick of the week. Okay.
Okay. You know what? Well, we got you got about a minute left. A minute and 10 seconds.
Oh, okay, good. We won't squeeze it in. We'll promote it then.
Yeah.
I tell you, we're talking about summer wines, and as I said, grilled asparagus and so forth. We're going Gruner Veltliner, but a good friend of ours, Christian Roganoff, winemaker at Belliana, and also Zocker and a couple other places he oversees. And I tell you, the Zocker Gruner Veltliner was in competition, and they took 30 at the top. Gruner Veltliners from Austria, and it came in third. A lot leaner, crisper, a little brighter acid. You don't have as much as that vegetal characteristic Gruners do, which pairs great with asparagus and artichokes. But I tell you, just a great bottle of wine for about $15 a bottle. Summertime grilling, and if you do grilled asparagus or artichokes or whatever, even the grilled salad, great little wine to have. And it goes with so many different combinations. And I tell you, Christian does such a great job out there. And he's definitely going to be on our show coming up as well.
Well, that sounds fantastic. And I'm looking forward to seeing you at 11 o'clock tomorrow at the Anaheim White House.
We'll see you then, buddy.
All right, buddy. Hey, John, great show. Thanks, pal.
Take care. Thank you.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now from Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:41 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 85 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what today is, right? Of course you do. It is July the 27th, and it's somebody's birthday. And this person was born in 1975, a Dominican-American professional baseball player. Nickname? A-Rod. Yeah, he currently plays third base for the New York Yankees. Happy birthday, Alex Rodriguez. And here's another fellow that was born in 1977, actor, best known for his television roles as Elvis Presley and as King Henry VIII in historical drama The Tudors. Happy birthday, Jonathan Rhys-Meyers. And what happened today in history? Well, I can tell you, on July 27th, 1974, the House Judiciary Committee votes 27-11 to recommend the first article of impeachment against President Nixon. And in 1987, first expedited salvaging of the Titanic wreckage begins by RMS Titanic Incorporated. And then finally, in 1995, in Washington, D.C., the Korean War Veterans Memorial is finally dedicated. Now, our quote for today comes from Pablo Picasso. Yeah, and he says, "Love is the greatest refreshment in life." Hear, hear, Pablo. You got that one right. Well, it's time for our secret daily teaching for your life. You know, I talk about it all the time. This is all about a positive mental attitude. Well, today's positive mental attitude and teaching comes from Charles Hannell. Now, Charles was born in 1866. He died in 1949. And, you know, he says, to become conscious of this power is to become a live wire. The universe is the live wire. It carries power sufficient to meet every situation in the life of every individual. When the individual mind touches the universal mind, it receives all its power. That is just, it's awesome. It works. I'm telling you, your life will be better for it. You'll thank me for it. You'll just, and everyone will thank you because their lives will be better too. Well, it's time for the Harvard Business Tip of the Day. And the management tip today is, make coaching remotely easier. Now, coaching isn't easy, but it's especially difficult when you're coaching a remote employee. When people share an office, they have more context with which to interpret each other's actions. Without that, it's harder to help someone understand how her successes and failures fit into the larger whole. In addition, coaching requires trust, which is harder to build over phone calls and video conferences. To make coaching a remote employee easier, have an honest discussion about the relationship's challenges. Acknowledging the problem gets you both on the same page and helps to set expectations. And Use structure to compensate for context. Set a schedule for regular meetings and spend time discussing the employee's coworkers, office politics, and life outside of work. And then finally, if it's possible, find a trusted advisor in the employee's location. Having a local sounding board will help you make more relevant recommendations. That, my friend, is guaranteed, and that, my friend, is good advice. Think about it. Good stuff. Now, it's time for those interesting but useless facts. Well, you know who Samuel Clemens was? Sure you do. He's Mark Twain. Well, he was born on and died on days when Halley's Comet can be seen. During his life, he predicted that he would die when it could be seen. And he did. How about this? Did you know that conception occurs more often in December than any other month? Yep. There's one for you. Try this one on for size. The Declaration of Independence was written on hemp paper. You know what that is, right? Marijuana paper. Yeah, you got that. No wonder these guys were celebrating. And how about this one? Everyone in the Middle Ages believed, as Aristotle had, that the heart was the seat of intelligence, not the brain. Give that one some serious thoughts. See where you're at. Okay. Did you know that about 500 movies are made in the United States and 800 in India annually? Did you hear that? 500 in the U.S., 800 in India? Give that one some serious thought. And did you know that in 2005, Canada was the single largest trading partner with the United States? China was second and Mexico was third in 2005. And, you know, the largest species of kangaroo stands nearly 7 feet tall. Get into a boxing match with that, see who wins. Did you know that every day the average person swallows about a quart of mucus? You know, I don't even think I want to think about that. That's not even where I want to go with this. Did you know that federal law forbids recycling used eyeglasses in the United States? Wow. I didn't know that. I do know that, you know, years ago I belonged to a charitable organization called Missions to Baja. And we would take about 8 airplanes and fly physicians and dentists and optometrists and chiropractors, all kinds of medical personnel, into Vizcaíno in the Vizcaíno Desert down in Baja, California, way down there. And they would take just boxes and boxes and boxes of eyeglasses, old ones that were discarded, and they would measure people's eyes, and there would be enough, close enough prescriptions to give everybody glasses that needed them. Isn't that magnificent? Yeah, sure is. Well, did you know that it would take 11 Empire State Buildings stacked one on top of the other to measure the Gulf of Mexico at its deepest point? Wow. Now, that I didn't know. That's interesting. Let's try this one on. Did you know that the lungfish can live out of water for 3 years in a state of suspended animation? Who cares? You know, the leading cause of poisoning for children under the age of 6 in the home is liquid dish soap. Did you get that, Mom? Dad? Liquid dish soap? Did you know that 1 in 10 Americans don't know that the sun is a star? 10% of us? That's scary. Here's one. More than 50% of all Americans fall asleep on their sides. Can you imagine the guys that have to come up with this stuff? You got to get a life, right? So let me leave you with this one. Abraham Lincoln was the only U.S. president to hold a patent. It was for an invention to buoy boats over shallow waters. Yep, that is the truth. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, I'm going to be answering your emails. My first email comes from Isabella Grecia from Warwick, Rhode Island. She's asking about head of household, and I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with the interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Well, we're coming down to the wire. It's time for our answer your emails today. But first, I want you to know that at 5:53 p.m. Pacific time, it's still 85 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire. Now, you know what? These email sections, this is an entertainment section of the show, and we want you to understand that we answer this as completely as we can, but a lot of times the information you give us in your emails is just a little sketchy, but we still try to give you a comprehensive answer. Just know that we always, always, always recommend that you go see a licensed professional so that they can interview you, gather all the data necessary to give you a good comprehensive answer, a total answer to your needs. And you'll be glad you did, because they're always going to save you more money than they cost you. They're going to give you peace of mind and let you sleep at night so that when people knock on your door or send you a registered letter or tap you on the shoulder, you don't have to worry about it. And you especially don't have to worry about it because one of the conditions of their licensing is that they have errors and omissions insurance, which means that if they give you the wrong information, they pay the piper, not you, and that's where you want it to be. Well, our first email today comes from Isabella Grecia from Warwick, Rhode Island, asking about head of household. And she says, my husband moved out last year, leaving me with the children, but we haven't divorced. He refuses to file a joint return with me. Since I provided a home for our children, can I file a return as head of household to get a lower tax rates than I would by filing separately? Well, here's the thing, Isabella. If your husband left your home during the first half of the year, then the answer to your question is yes. According to the IRS, you also qualify for head of household status if you, though married, file a separate return that your spouse was not a member of your household during the last 6 months of that tax year, and you provided for qualifying child more than half of the cost of maintaining your home, a household that was the main home for more than one half of the tax year. So go to IRS Publication 501. That's Exemptions, Standard Deductions, and Filing Information for more detailed information on that. Next email comes from Keegan Griccio from Cary, North Carolina, asking about Roth IRA's pros and cons, and says, our mother lives on Social Security and money from an IRA and is in a low tax bracket. We children disagree about whether she should convert her IRA to a Roth IRA. What do you think? Well, Keegan, I have way too much too few facts here about your family situation to know for sure, but in general, if your mother expects to consume her IRA, she may be best leaving it as is, since she pays little tax on it anyhow. On a conversion to a Roth IRA, her current IRA balance will be taxable and may pile up into a higher tax bracket than she would otherwise ever have to pay. Now, if she wants to leave her IRA funds to her heirs, a conversion might make sense. She would pay a modest tax because she is in a lower tax bracket on the conversion, but make the Roth IRA funds tax-free to her heirs who may be in a higher tax bracket. Now, a Roth IRA's lack of minimum annual distributions during her lifetime might also allow her to leave more IRA funds to the heirs. But, as I said before, consult an expert about the details of your situation, and especially in a case like this. Now, the last email for today comes from Samuel Griffin from Spartanburg, South Carolina, asking about Social Security benefits, and writes, is it true that Social Security benefits are taxed only when you take them before age 65? Actually, Sam, no. But Social Security benefits may be reduced when you take them before your normal retirement age if you have earned income. Now, this may seem like a tax, but it isn't. It's just part of the benefit formula. When you reach normal retirement age, this earned income reduction stops. Let me give you an example of that. If you're receiving Social Security benefits and will not reach your normal retirement age this year, Social Security will withhold $1 of benefits for every $2 that you earn over $13,560. Now, regardless of your age, part of your Social Security benefits may be subject to income tax. Up to 50% of benefits are taxable when adjusted gross income, or AGI, plus 1/2 of Social Security benefits, plus all of the tax-free interest, exceeds $25,000 on a single return or $32,000 on a joint return. And up to 85% may be taxed when AGI exceeds 34% single and 44% joint, or 44,000 is joint. Now, take note, normal retirement age varies with your year of birth. So for details on this, visit the Social Security Administration's Social Security Online website at www.ssa.gov. And you'll be glad that, trust me, you'll be really glad that you did that. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Blog Talk Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. I also broadcast on Roar 1776 Radio and Live 365 Radio every Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. On my next show, my expert contributor is going to be Suzette Mailer with her IFAB travel series. My special guest, Sean Lefebvre, is going to be talking healthcare on his Geared for Wellness Corner. I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. I want to remind you that tomorrow, the 28th of July, will be our last broadcast on Blog Talk Radio, and it's only because of sound quality and stuff like that. We're going to continue to extend or expand our radio coverage to other stations, and we'll let you know about that. We're going to be coming out with 2 free apps for you. But the best way to listen to us now is on Spreaker Radio. That's SPREAKER.com. And just in search, put in Robert Cardoza Live. You'll be glad you did, guys. And with that, just have a wonderful evening, will you?
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.
That's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed producing it for you. Don't forget to join me again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific Time for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. In the meantime, stay happy, stay good, stay safe, and good night, everybody.